in units. And even single family homes, they went up slightly by a few more units. We had 17 of them. But just so you know, there was a period 3 years that we were doing 39 to 45 a year. So way below on our total housing here. And I keep saying this for the last couple of years, 15 miles down the road, they've got the next 1,000 homes planned. They're already kicking our butt in sales tax collections. They're certainly going to kick our butt in growth of property tax collections as well. I just feel like there's a massive demographic shift that's going to happen over the next decade or so as they just massively outperform us when it comes to building. So I guess all I really just want to say is that, you know, housing is an indicator from kind of, you know, the macroeconomy. I like to remind everybody that, you know, we need to make that our number one priority here. It's foundational to us here. We need to treat it with a more sense of urgency. And that's really all I'm going to add. Thanks.
Thank you, Stephen. I see two more. Go ahead. So two more in council chambers, and then we'll go online.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Timothy Dalton, Colum County. First off, I'd like to welcome Councilman Hodgson to the podium tonight. I mean, I think it's great that you're here with your housing knowledge, working with Habitat and those sort of things. Kind of want to speak on the $2 million grant again. You know, I want to commend staff for even going after this. You know what? That if you're looking at housing projects today, the projects that I'm seeing, I've worked with Peninsula Housing Authority, I've worked with Windy Sisk with PBH. You know, you're $500,000 in just architecture fees. Trying to design this. These costs are not cheap with everything going on. But really, you know, I look at the project up here and like Steve was talking tonight that, you know, we need 60% of AMI and below. The problem is that no matter what you do on something that size lot is going to be a challenge because of the fact that the smaller you go, the higher the cost. You know, like John was talking about, that we need large developments in here, that's the only way to disperse the costs. You know, and those are issues that we're going to have. But like I say, I commend staff for even going after. I mean, we need that positive momentum going forward, but this is going to be, you know, it's going to be a challenge, but I think you have the staff ready to look at it. But I know that you also have community members that are willing to lend their expertise to help with this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Kelly Johnson, City of Port Angeles resident. Congratulations, Kate. Glad to see you serving again this year. I'm really happy about that. I wanted to thank Joe from 4PA, who is in the audience today. We have had a terrible problem with structures, illegal structures in between my
Kelly,
building at the Cliff House condos and Country Air.
I'm sorry. Is this linked to tonight's agenda?
Oh, shoot. No.
I'm sorry.
But thanks. Okay. Okay.
And I think we'll be pretty efficient. So
okay.
Stick around because there is a second public comment period. Sorry about that, but thank you. All right. I have one hand online. Mimi, when you are unmuted, make sure that I can hear you and start your timer.
I believe I'm unmuted.
You are. All right. We can hear you. So go ahead. I'm starting your time.
Okay. I'm actually not currently in that county. So can you say your name? Amy Smith, City of Port Angeles usually, but I'm not there today. Okay. I'd really like to point out something. Our city website has a whole bunch of big red buttons that say live virtual meeting with big red buttons. Click here. It doesn't work. The website comes up and it gives me a countdown because I watched for 8 minutes until the countdown of 6 o'clock, and then nothing happens. So I had to scramble around, wander around. I went to the live virtual meetings page. That's the page that's 984. No live links. Nothing opens. Nothing comes up. Nothing's linked. So then I had to go into the agenda packet and get the information from there. This is not no wonder why people don't show up and watch online. This is horrible. It needs to be fixed yesterday. So don't say that you have live virtual meetings that are working and then have people have to scramble around, because it took me 15 minutes to finally figure it to get to the right place. Very frustrated, very unhappy. Meanwhile, congratulations, Kate, on being mayor. That's all I have to say. It's just, we got to fix this website. It's just not user-friendly in any way, shape, or form. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else before we move on? Okay, then we will hear from folks at the end of the meeting at the second public comment period. We will move on to the consent agenda. It has been amended. I will read the amended version as staff requested. Is there anything anyone would like to add to the consent agenda? Drew.
Can I please add J1, the Class B biosolids transportation and beneficial use SVC 2025-54?
Any opposition to adding that? All right. I don't usually do this, but I'm going to make a suggestion in the interest of efficiency. And I know that there may be discussion that I wouldn't be aware of. But I wonder if, I know there is concern about ARC as a committee. And I'm wondering, because we have additional things to talk about sort of tangentially related to all of this at the next meeting, if we might move the council assignments, if everyone is okay with everything else, move the council assignments to the consent agenda with accepting that line item and continue that to the next meeting. Does anyone have concerns with that? Go ahead.
I don't mind doing that so long as we actually have a date of when we'll be discussing ARC.
The 3rd.
Okay.
I would like to do it. That is, I know I did talk to Nathan ahead of time, and he had suggested March 3rd, and I'm suggesting February 3rd.
Okay. I just want to make sure we actually have that on the calendar.
Okay. Does that work? Go ahead, Amy.
Excuse me, I actually do have a problem with that. I would like to speak to that sooner rather than later.
Do you want to, so you would like to not put that on the consent agenda and talk about it tonight? Okay. All right, then we will leave it and move the Class B solids. Anything anyone else would like to add? You all right? Okay. It sounded that way, but I just want to make sure. Okay. Did I already ask if there's anything anyone would like to pull from the consent agenda? Okay, not hearing anything. So I will go ahead and read the consent agenda. The City Council minutes of October 28th, 2025. Expenditure report from December 13th, 2025 to January 9th, 2025 in the amount of $5,156,614.24. Landfill seawall beach nourishment. 8th Street paving project, CON-2024-05. Final acceptance. Marine Drive paving project, final acceptance, TR0324. Washington State Department of Commerce Housing Pipeline Pilot Project Grant Agreement 25-94110-003. Berg Benefits Professional Services Agreement and Red Quote HRA Adoption Agreement. Approving the continuation of merchant services with National Cash Register. Fiscal year 2025 to 2027 Water Quality Stormwater Capacity Grant Agreement, contract number WQSWCAP-2527-POANPW-001461. And Class B Biosolids Transportation and Beneficial Use SVC 2025-54. Comments, questions, or a motion to approve?
So moved.
I second.
All right. I will just make a quick comment. I appreciate the comments we got tonight about the housing pipeline project and hope that we will have some additional conversation about that based on those comments as we go forward. Anything else? All right, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as read. Anyone opposed to the motion, please state your opposition. All right, hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And we'll go to Calvin for item H1, adopting procedures for accepting donated permit-ready plans.
Thank you very much, Mayor, members of the council. You'll find this information starting on page H1 of your packet. In 2023, the City of Port Angeles launched the Permit Ready Plan program. We are recommending expanding this program by accepting new donated Permit Ready plans for the online library. I'll now turn over the presentation to CED Manager Cartmel.
Presentation will take approximately 7 minutes. To help us stay on track, I respectfully ask that questions be held until the end, as many may be addressed in the upcoming slides. Printed copies of the presentation are available for you at the council dais, and additional copies are provided for the public at the table outside council chambers. Next slide, please. So to begin, I want to briefly ground council in how the Permit Ready Plan program originated. In 2022, the city received a Housing Action Plan implementation grant from the Washington State Department of Commerce. Next slide, please. The overarching purpose of the Permit Ready Plan program is to reduce barriers to infill housing development. It does this by lowering upfront design costs and shortening permit review timelines for builders and homeowners. Since the program began, these plans have been actively used. In 2025, Council further strengthened the program by approving fee waivers for projects that use permit-ready plans. Next slide, please. With that context, staff is proposing a formal donation program. The proposed resolution establishes clear procedures for accepting donated engineered plan sets into the city's permit-ready plan program. Next slide, please. To ensure quality and consistency, the donation program includes specific eligibility criteria. Any donated plan must apply with all applicable building, fire, electrical, and energy codes, as well as relevant provisions of the Port Angeles Municipal Code. Next slide, please. Beyond technical compliance, donated plans must also meaningfully contribute to community housing needs. This includes providing multifamily housing, middle housing, infill housing, modular or prefabricated construction, sustainable materials, or innovative design techniques. Next slide, please. The submittal requirements are intentionally similar to standard building permit applications. Required materials include general building permit application, construction plans, and any other supporting documents required for review. There are also desired submittals such as pre-engineered fire sprinkler plans for larger projects. Next slide, please. From a procedural standpoint, applicants would submit a permit-ready plan donation application along with the required materials. The city would review the plan using the same process as a Type 1 building permit, ensuring consistency and predictability. Next slide, please. To put this program into perspective, it is helpful to look at what has already been built. 4 permit-ready plan units have been fully constructed, including ADUs and primary residences across multiple neighborhoods in the city. These multiple projects demonstrate that the program is not theoretical, it is actively producing more housing choices. Next slide, please. In addition, 7 permit-ready plans have received building permits and are currently under construction or awaiting completion. These include ADUs, primary residences, and townhouse duplexes that are a part of a larger subdivision. Next slide, please. So 2 larger developments are also utilizing permit-ready plans. One is a newly approved subdivision using permit-ready duplexes for its first phase, with the potential to expand their use. Another involves a multi-acre parcel where multiple small permit-ready units are proposed, with the first permit currently under review. As you can see, there's a very healthy pipeline of new dwelling units planned for 2026. This work builds on the solid number of units permitted in 2025 and the exceptional success of 2024, which was due to the large Peninsula Behavioral Health Project. We are optimistic that the programs like the Permit Ready Plan and Multifamily Housing Pilot will continue to expand housing choices in the years to come. Next slide, please. So before shifting to some broader permitting and customer service metrics, I want to pause briefly and summarize what staff is asking council to consider tonight. 1, adopt the resolution implementing procedures to accept engineered plan sets into the city's Permit Ready Plan program. And 2, authorize staff to enter into and administer professional agreements necessary to implement these procedures and make minor modifications as necessary. With that recommendation in mind, the next few brief slides provide additional context on how this program fits in with the City Council's broader goals of quicker permitting and enhanced customer service performance. Next slide, please. As we zone out from individual programs, it is important to look at overall customer service performance within the Community and Economic Development Department. In 2025, staff engaged with developers, business owners, and residents more than 7,400 times at the front counter alone. These metrics reflect the department's enhanced focus on responsiveness, consistency, and timely communication while managing a high volume of daily interactions. Next slide, please. Another key operational area is the city's over-the-counter permitting program. In 2025, staff issued 352 over-the-counter permits, and nearly 91% of those permits were issued on the same day that they were submitted. In December, Council supported the expansion of this program by approving updates to the 2026 Master Fee Schedule. As a result, CED, Public Works, and Fire have been tasked by the City Council with identifying and adding additional permit types to the over-the-counter program by April of this year to further improve efficiency and customer experience. Next slide, please. These customer service and permitting improvements are closely tied to Senate Bill 5290, which required local governments to modify their land use and permitting procedures to improve predictability and transparency. Next slide, please. As part of this effort, staff consolidated permitting procedures into a single cohesive chapter of the Port Angeles Municipal Code. These updates established clear review timelines, allowed for concurrent permit reviews, and clarified expectations for applicants and staff alike. Next slide, please. All right, PMC Chapter 1802 organizes permits into 5 clear permit types, beginning with Type 0 permits. Type 0 permits are over-the-counter permits. This structure allows staff to quickly respond and process routine permits while reserving more intensive review for a higher impact project. A special thanks to Councilmember Suggs for recommending the Type 0 and OTC program. Type 1 permits are administrative review permits with a standard 65-day processing timeframe. Next slide, please. Type 2 permits also fall under administrative review, but require public notice and have a longer processing timeframe of up to 100 days. Type 3 permits are quasi-judicial decisions that require public notice and a public hearing, with an overall processing timeframe of up to 170 days. Next slide, please. Type 4 and Type 5 permits represent the highest level of review and involve Planning Commission and City Council decision-making, such as code amendments, comprehensive plan changes, and similar actions. Next slide, please. Together, these procedural updates have resulted in enhanced permit processing performance. In 2025, the city consistently met or exceeded these timelines. This demonstrates that the city's permitting process has substantially improved thanks to the support of City Council, even while staff continue to manage increasing application volumes and expanded customer service responsibilities. Next slide, please. That concludes this presentation this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to walk through the operational context, customer service performance, and permitting framework that supports the Permit Ready Plan recommendation before you tonight.
Are there any questions before we move? Sorry, Shannon. Do you mind coming back for questions? Okay, we're going to Calvin. Okay, we'll go to Calvin for questions. Latricia and then Drew.
I did have a question in regards to responsibility for updating the donated plans. I saw in the summary where it states in here applicants agree to updated donated plans as code requirements change, but I didn't see anywhere in the draft agreement that was attached language in there that said that they were committed to updating those plans. So with the absent of that language, I don't think it's quite clear. Plus, the other thing I was wondering is with our current existing plans that we have, what is the process for when codes change, or like the International Building Code or the International Fire Code? Who is responsible for updating those plans? And I'm wondering if we have a different process that we already update those plans, why are we creating an alternate process for donated plans? And I just think having two processes is kind of messy, and maybe they just slide right under and to our current process. And so those are my questions. Thank you.
I'll take the first swing at that, council member. Thank you for the question. And again, thank you for your leadership on the Type 0 program. I think it's been very successful and appreciate your leadership. Regarding the template that's attached, and thank you for pointing that out, it's meant to be an example template. Different opportunities, different contracts may mean different things. And so we'll double check that issue. That's clearly the intent, is that the folks voluntarily entering this program commit to updating their documents as required. And so if that's not explicit in the document, we'll work with our legal team on that template to adjust accordingly. I'll turn to Supervisor Broderick or CED Manager Cartmel on the second part of your question relative to the existing plans. Council might remember we received a grant from the State Department of Commerce several years ago. We purchased those plans from the private sector. One of the challenges we've heard from the development community is they were very much kind of one-way only plans and with very little ability to update them. So I defer to the staff on how we are updating or requiring the private sector developer we purchased them from on how they manage any changes to code that may occur in the future.
All right, so I can answer that question. So with the existing permit-ready plans that we have, they were built to the 2021 code standards, which was the current cycle we were headed into at the time of the adoption of those plans. They would be required to update them with the 2024 building codes if and when the state adopts those. It is undetermined yet, that process. It would likely cost some form of money because it is an architectural firm to update those.
So would we pay for that update, or would that firm pay for that?
I don't think I have those details right now. I'd have to get back to you.
Okay, because do we own those plans? Because underneath this existing proposal, the city would own those plans. I think it's still kind of a messy thing, and that maybe we need to firm up how that's done. And I don't know, I'm leaning towards that. If we're going to own them, it should be our responsibility to update them working with an architect. But the challenge too is not another architectural firm's going to want to update another architectural firm's plans. So I see the challenges and the messiness and the gray area that can happen, but I don't want us to create two different methods. And
I think, Councilmember, to your point, looking back at the plans that were purchased earlier versus going forward, and I think what the recommendation of staff is to make sure going forward we have a program that works and that doesn't require, again, when someone is voluntarily giving us these documents, we want to make sure that we have a robust check and balance system, thus the updating of them. Because in essence, if we allow those plans to remain on the website, we in essence are putting kind of the city's support behind them. And so we want to ensure that they are updated. And so we'll work with our existing contract, with our previous contract, and when and if the State Building Code Council does make updates to review the current plans we do have, and then explore with that contractor, that vendor, the ability to update them if needed.
Are there other questions? I have yes, sorry, Drew, I even put your name down. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a question and then a few comments. So I mostly just want to very explicitly have answered. I recognize that under section 1, it says implemented without cost to the city or residents. We're not charging an application fee for the donated plans, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just want to confirm, couldn't find that in the agreement, just to make sense. Also, just for council's reference, page 6, which is also H8, does actually specify the consultants agree to update the engineered plans set due to updates to the building energy codes. So that line is in the example that you have provided us. And then the comment that I have is that I have heard from some members of the public that one of the issues with the permit ready plans is to construct the plans as designed is actually cost prohibitive for what they get. So my hope is that this will be able to generate some plans that are more cost effective for builders to be able to participate. On a side note, bouncing real fast back to who has to pay for the updates. In my mind, this line in here of the engineer plan set to update, that basically just makes it so the city doesn't have to pay for a whole bunch of plans to be updated that aren't actually used by anybody. So if the person who donated them doesn't have them updated, we just pull them from the website and we're covered to be able to do that and no one gets upset. That being said, if we do have plans that are regularly used that are owned by the city, I would welcome the conversation for us to just pay to have them updated instead of making the next person to use them forced to do it. But I don't want to see that as a blanket statement of by default, we update all the plans because that can get real expensive for things that are never used. That's all I have.
Thank you, Drew. I appreciate you sort of said out loud the thought process I was on, so I appreciate that. Go ahead, Navarra.
I'm very supportive and will not a question. I thought I would just add that this is a timely time to be talking about this, particularly because there's a Senate bill that's going through the legislature, was heard last week, that would have permit-ready plans for GMAs. And I think that if the legislature does pass that, or growth management areas, whatever they are, I'm losing it. So anyhow, that those areas would sort of follow suit on the work that we're doing now, and that the state would have some additional resources for people to build permit ready in the growth management areas. And so that might be something that if we're supporting this, might be something that we can support individually as council members, or folks want to weigh in on that when it goes through further hearings. But just to say that it's nice when we're working on things that it seems like are being worked on in terms of solving the housing shortage all across the state right now. So it's exciting to have this come forward to us.
Thank you, Navarra. Anyone else? John, go ahead.
I just had a quick clarifying question here. On the 6th slide, it says accepted plans must accepted plan sets must contribute meaningfully to community housing needs. So I'm wondering, how do we decide if a plan can meaningfully contributes? Is that based on our housing action plan? Admittedly, I haven't read all the chapter 17.21 a municipal code that talks about it, but I was hoping maybe I could get some clarity on what that means, how that's decided, because the last thing I want is for plans to have another level of red tape or bureaucracy that our builders need to go through to build in our community.
Thank you, council member. First of all, if the proposal for the permit ready plan is infill, multifamily, duplex, triplex, it's considered automatically meets those criteria. What we're getting at here is for detached single family homes, which that would need a little bit more of a narrative, and that's how it would work. A narrative that would go along with that request to the CED manager to see, based on code, the comprehensive plan, how that detached single family home supports the overall housing goals of the city. But for duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, multifamily, ADUs, those are all considered to have met that bar, if you will.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay, I will read the resolution and then we'd be happy to entertain a motion. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Port Angeles, Washington, adopting procedures for accepting donated permit-ready plans.
So moved.
Second.
There's some additional language that was requested, which we might want to include. It's on the memo on page H1. Sorry.
authorizes the city manager or their designee to enter into and administer donation agreements necessary to implement these procedures and to make minor modifications.
Second.
All right. Any last comments or questions? Okay, so we have a motion to, oh, yes, go ahead.
I just want to thank the entity, which I believe is the hub, for bringing this forward and making this possible. Without partnerships in our community like this, things like this don't happen. And it always takes the community to bring ideas together to make things work. So I really appreciate that partnership between the city and this organization.
Thank you for pointing that out, Latricia. All right, so we have a motion to pass the resolution as read and authorize the city manager or their designee to enter into and administer donation agreements necessary to implement these procedures and to make minor modifications. Let's try unanimous consent. Anyone opposed to the motion, please state your opposition. All right, hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And now I'm going to go to Corey to introduce Carmen because we have an update. Corey.
Madam Mayor, Council, tonight we invited Senior Center Manager Carmen Geyer to do a year-end review that focuses on building connections, care and wellness, and emphasis on the community. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Manager Geyer, and I'd also like to mention that she is attending the Washington Women's Leadership Academy and will be graduating in March this year.
Thank you, Director Delicott, and thank you to the council and Mayor for having me out this evening. This is one of the highlights of my year, being able to share the hard work of city and the staff and the volunteers at the Senior Center. So let's dive into the details. Next slide, please. Okay, so here we have our beautiful multi-purpose facility. So this building is one, other than Field Hall, this is one of the most newest buildings in Port Angeles, completed in 1995 and cooperatively run by the City of Port Angeles and the Senior Center's nonprofit board of directors. Currently, they have 7 dedicated board members that I work very closely with. And we have 1 full-time city employee, that's me, along with city support staff with the janitorial and the maintenance team to keep the building clean and safe for daily use. So this facility offers a complete commercial kitchen, multi-purpose activity room, dining room, coffee lounge that's open to the public, computer room, meeting rooms, craft and activity rooms, game rooms, and a billiards room. And so all of these rooms are available to rent for parties, memorials, workshop meetings, etc. All except for my office is available to rent. And the next slide, please. So the mission of the center is to develop and manage programs to encourage the physical, intellectual, emotional, and social well-being for citizens 45 years and older in a safe and open environment. 45 years and older. Is that a senior? When I saw that, I was very curious. So after learning more, so the associate membership ranges between 45 and 54 years old. And the reason for this is to help bridge the gap for those who are maybe aging into the senior population. And so we just wanted to have that safety net for those who are looking to join our membership. And then, so I just want to express the appreciation to the city for keeping membership fees low and accessible. As you can see here, so for our associate membership, it's $18 a year if you live in the city limits and $27 outside. If you're a member 55 and older, it's $16 and $25 outside. I also want to express that the nonprofit board of directors offers community scholarships for those who cannot afford a membership, no questions asked. So I think that's really special. Next slide, please. So we would be nothing without our volunteers. And here are the numbers of our volunteers and members. So we currently have 148 volunteers who help run this facility every single day. They gave last year 9,804 volunteer hours, which equals 4.7 full-time employees. We have 1,127 members. We had a budgeted income of $15,000 in memberships, and we had an actual come in of $19,000. So we're ahead there. So we have 791 members in the city and 313 outside. Our associate members are a little low, so we have 9 in the city and 4 outside, because what are 45 to 54-year-olds doing during the day? we're working, right? Yes, exactly. So we're looking to beef up those numbers by potentially looking at evening and weekend programs and activities for them. And then the next slide. So our purpose and impact. So the center helps reduce isolation, supports stability, and helps bridge connection to community partners. Through trainings through the Clown Resilience Project, they have helped influence the way we approach policies and practices at the center. When developing new procedures, we've been able to consider a wide array of community members who use our space, including individuals experiencing homelessness, those in mental health crises, or those seeking basic supports like food and social services. So our center intentionally utilizes all spaces to welcome community members, such as the Port Angeles Food Bank's mobile market, the Olympic Connect program, and Peninsula Behavioral Health. And we allow these programs to be delivered on site for the benefit of our members and the broader community. And another thing to note, this last year, staff and volunteers were trained in de-escalation tactics and how to handle situations compassionately when someone is distressed. And we provide quiet spaces or calming activities for members who may be feeling overwhelmed. And we also ensure that wraparound supports, including mental health, nutrition, and social services, are readily accessible within the center. So these approaches foster a safe, respectful, and supportive environment for all who enter our doors. And I also like to give a shout out to Olympic Connect. In the last year, they've helped us bridge gaps when members or community members arrive in crisis or need supports that we just aren't trained for or can offer at that time. Olympic Connect has case managers that can meet their clients at the center, and we help provide quiet and safe spaces for them to offer these services. So this has been a big help for our volunteers and myself when we don't know where to turn. Next slide, please. So our programs and participation. So consistent use demonstrates the center's importance as a daily community resource. Last year, we rolled out a new scan station to track attendance. Some members were very not okay with this because they didn't know what they didn't want to be tracked. They didn't want the government tracking them. And I was like, well, technically we are, but it's for good use. And so from this data, we found that seniors participated in 68 programs and classes last year, which totaled over 13,150 hours of programming. This equals more than 53,370 hours of individual participation. So 53,000 hours of people coming together, joining activities, and I just try and think, where else would they be? And where else would our senior community members be if we didn't have these programs in our senior center? These activities support physical, mental, and social well-being. We have exercise classes, crafting groups, and food programs, to name a few. And so what all these numbers tell me is that we have a high participation that reflects trust and relevance in our offerings. Next slide, please. So here's a little day in the life. So here's a quick snapshot of everyday offerings that reduce isolation, spark knowledge, and help support economic dignity. So the coffee lounge served over 5,600 cups. We call it cups of connection or coffee. And the Crafty Corner sold nearly $5,000 in handmade goods that were created by local seniors. And the Computer Lab had over 430 visits for computer usage or tutoring. Next slide, please. So we also like to offer workshops that proactively address safety, cognitive health, and independence. Last year, we had 5 different workshops that offered educational information and connection from community partners. Next slide, please. And so outreach in the community. So outreach strengthens our visibility, cultural connection, and cross-community relationships. We like to do this by connecting beyond our walls. So these opportunities allow our members and volunteers to give back and engage outside the center. So it's so easy to get stuck in our routines, right? You come to the center, you sit down in the same chair, you have your same mug, but what we really like to see is to get people out of their routines and have our members giving back and participating in community events. And it's been really special. The biggest highlight for me is when we were invited to partner with the Lower Elwha Column Tribe, and we helped create 200 tie blankets for the Paddle to Elwha canoe journey. So these blankets were created at the senior center together, and then they were given to the tribe, and they were able to give them as gifts. And the tribe, as the tribes were welcome to a shore, they were given as welcome gifts. So it was very beautiful. Next slide, please. So outreach continued. So volunteers and community members are essential to extending the center's reach and impact. Through presence, preparedness, and health fairs, seniors are learning tangible ways and practical tools to help themselves and live meaningful lives. So we also partnered with the Port Angeles Marathon Association to help assemble their medals for all the Run the Peninsula races. And for 23 years now, the center has hosted a water stop along the North Olympic Discovery Marathon route. And word on the street is we're never going to give up that spot because it's a prime location. So if we say no, we don't get back in the rotation. So it's a lot of fun. Next slide, please. So we also have informational presentations. So our center serves as a neutral, trusted, convening space for public agencies to provide information about services, programs, and events or offerings to our membership. So you can see here we have a wide variety of programs and partners who have come to present this last year, ranging from OMC, Faro to Life Flight Network. Next up. So our HVAC and solar projects that started back in 2024, it feels like so long ago we started this. I feel like we've been in construction, and we have, but I'm excited to share that we are in the home stretch of this project. So the HVAC was actually completed with a state-of-the-art heating and cooling system to help keep our center warm and cozy. And then as of last week, the solar battery has been installed. And we are officially connected to the grid. And I want to thank our city electricians for making that happen seamlessly. So we're on track to be fully harnessing the sun's energy by the end of February. And so this project represents an important step towards sustainability and long-term cost savings, helping us continue to invest in programs and services that matter most to our members and community. Next slide, please. Okay, support services. So these community services protect fixed income seniors and support independence. These are all incredible partners and statistics, but I really want to highlight the number of seniors served through the statewide health insurance benefits advisors program for Medicare open enrollment, otherwise known as SHIBA, and AARP's tax aid. These services provide such a relief to our seniors who otherwise wouldn't know where to turn to get free tax and enrollment supports. So you can see here, so AARP, over 450, those are successfully completed returns. And Medicare, SHIBA helped over 575 individuals this last year. I think that's incredible. I'm happy to note that AARP's tax aid is kicking off on February 2nd. So we're gearing up to host hundreds of seniors throughout the center this season. And then new for this year, we partnered with the North Olympic Healthcare Network to host 2 vaccine clinics. This is something new, where we had more than 100 seniors receive flu and COVID vaccines at the center, so they didn't have to leave their favorite cozy spots and or have to travel to a doctor's office to get their vaccines. Next slide, please. And so this is with our Coastal Community Action Program. So this partnership features a 5-year facility use agreement with CCAP. What we've seen is a 42% increase in seniors served when we shifted from dinners to lunches for safety and access during daylight hours because no one likes to travel at night. And so we're happy to report that CCAP served over 8,000 lunches to our seniors in 2025. Coastal Community Action Program also operates our local Meals on Wheels program that serves more than 100 households in our community. And last year, they prepared and delivered 23,600 meals. I think it's just incredible. I lose my words whenever I think about that. This really helps us extend our reach beyond the center and feed those who are homebound. And another special thing that they do is they don't just deliver frozen meals. They also that morning prepare a hot, fresh meal and package it so that they have a fresh meal in their weekly delivery. So for many of these seniors, this is their only hot meal that they'll receive in their day, in their week. And we're just really extremely grateful to Coastal Community Action Program for this partnership and support. Next slide, please. Another feel-good story here. So I was honored to partner with the Senior Center's nonprofit board of directors to apply for the Northwest Harvest Grant that we were awarded for the 2nd year in a row. We were able to hand out gift cards through our nutrition program and the Port Angeles Food Bank's mobile market attendees. So we were able to give out more than $42,000 worth of Safeway gift cards, which are now in the hands of our seniors who reported using these cards for things like gas, prescription medication, and food during the holidays. And we're very grateful for this gift and opportunity, and we will continue to apply for this grant year after year. Next up, please. Okay, so to recap, the Port Angeles Senior and Community Center operationalizes the city's community resilience goals every day through prevention, partnerships, and people-centered services that strengthen health, safety, and belonging citywide. So with developing a community of health and wellness, our center supports health and wellness through daily delivery of health supportive programs, nutrition, movement, and social connection. These are also preventative services that support aging in place and can help reduce crisis response. And to note, we're a hope-centered facility and utilize trauma-informed practices that are embedded across all of our operations. We communicate policy and plans with community partners and residents by offering presentations and networking at local service clubs, organizations, and business meetings. And we also utilize our Senior Center newsletter for updates and outreach. And so I'm excited to share that we're going to define measures for increased public health and wellness by using last year's data, our numbers, of offerings, classes, and nutritional services as a benchmark to help keep growing our reach and support of these services. And lastly, we'll continue to nurture partnerships and promote wellness with organizations like CCAP, Olympic Connect, KNOWN, Calm Resilience Project, OMC, to name a few. And we'll continue to find ways to increase engagement with volunteer, activity-based, and wellness-focused organizations that we have yet to connect with. Next slide, please. Okay, so what's ahead? So we're going to continue to partner with local organizations to provide resource fairs, clinics, and programs for our members. These are trusted, tried, and true services. We see people coming back year after year. And we're going to focus on membership drives to invite every senior and non-senior associate member senior to the peninsula to join us and become part of our community. And finally, we'll continue to focus on governance, inclusivity, and continuous improvement every day. And to note, so back in the spring of 2025, the city contracted with Jetta Rogers to conduct a comprehensive review of programs, activities, policies, roles, and responsibilities. This work prioritized inclusivity and outcomes that benefit all center members and users. So from this, the progress to date with this work includes, we drafted a robust memorandum of understanding with input from all user groups, the nonprofit board of directors, and city staff. And then this work also includes a drafted comprehensive senior center manual. We've never had that before. It's going to be a living document addressing policies, decision-making, conflict resolution, and stakeholder feedback. And this document also provides greater clarity around shared and separate roles with the city and nonprofit, which is reflected in updated nonprofit bylaws, a new board description, a new senior center manager job description. And so we will continue this work with hopes to finalize and bring these documents to you in this first quarter of the year. Next slide, please. Okay, so lastly, I'd like to personally invite you to come out for a tour if you've never been and check out firsthand the special place that we've created. So thank you for this opportunity to share our story.
Thank you very much, Carmen, and to all the volunteers who help make all those cool things possible. I have an idea, so I'll reach out to you about a commute. I'm on the Lauridsen Trust, and I think there's potential opportunity with the Senior Center.
Lovely.
Are there questions from council? We'll go Amy, John, and then, no? Okay, Amy, John, and Mark.
I am proud to announce that I am one of those 9 associate members. I went to a free concert there. I brought some friends in there, and it's like every time I see a presentation or go there, you have more and more to share. And so there's a lot of folks that I interact with that would not have no other place to go during the day. And you not only make them safe and welcome, but you give them activities. And so I just want to thank you for the presentation. I think you should be very proud of the work that you are doing there and the legacy you are leaving. You said very quickly that we had a new job description for the manager. I hope you accepted the job. You're doing a great job. Yeah. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. John, go ahead.
I just want to echo Amy's thoughts on your presentation. I really appreciate it. I'm wondering if there's opportunities to like bridge generation gaps, like with kids in the elementary school or high school, middle school, because I feel like that connection is really missing in today's world. I mean, a lot of times where like my kids, you know, with their grandparents, they don't see them that often. There's not that much interaction. So I'm hoping, and I love to be able to brainstorm some ideas around that. I also am glad to know that I'm not considered a senior yet. But I'm very happy that you guys are doing that. I think that's great. And like you said, people in that age group, we usually work full-time jobs, but I think having more outings, more things after the 9 to 5 would be a great opportunity. And I just look forward to seeing what you guys do to increase membership and make that space a well-used community area that is safe and environment and inclusive and everything. So thank you so much, Carmen.
Thank you, John. Mark, go ahead.
Thanks for the presentation. Has there been continued discomfort with the data collection with members scanning in and scanning out? I mean, I only ask because the numbers are really valuable and they help you as you address the needs of the senior center, and then they help policy making in general.
Yeah, I think the peer method works, right? So seeing, your friends checking in or having the program leaders come out and explain why. So I think when we first rolled it out, there was hesitation. There's a lot of questions. And so we had someone stationed there. And so people are slow to adopt things. And then now that we have this data and we're presenting on it, it's exciting, right? And so we want to see that grow. And that also will allow us to offer different types of programming. And so I think that as we tell the story, I think that'll really help us get more participation.
Great. Yeah. I'm also one of the 9. And so I guess I have that as sort of a personal challenge to the community. If the 2 of the 9 serve on council, that perhaps we could do something to bring up more associate members. And I say that sort of in jest, but can you explain the value of an associate member?
Yeah, so I think that intergenerational, it's not that far off, but I think it's just having these safety nets within our community. We see a lot of single senior women come in as well. And so I think seeing, being able to invite your friends in and just to see a younger demographic coming in. I think we'll also be able to see different types of programming. And I think that's really on us to offer that and to bring them in. But again, just to have that safety net, like we're aging together, right? So, it is safe and it's okay. It's okay to age. And so I think that's.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Drew and Latricia.
Mine's just a comment. Most people may be unaware of how young the city council actually is. I too am not a member because I don't qualify for an associate membership. So I believe half of our council could not actually join even as associate members.
Fair enough. You can always come in for coffee. It's open to the public. Yes. Yeah.
Well, Latricia, go ahead.
I was just thinking, Councilmember Miller and Mark, you can hold his hand and walk him through and tell him he has to look forward to, he needs permission. I remember years ago, as a little kid, with my mom going downtown Port Angeles, and the seniors had a little shop in downtown where they sold their goods. I know you mentioned in here they sold their stuff. Do they only sell at the senior center, or is there an alternate location that's more public that they also sell their crafts at? Because I know my mom was big at always there was the rags and dish towels and stuff that were created. She always made that effort to go in there and get those because they were fabulous products. They were local and it supported a good cause. So I don't know, do they sell outside of the senior center? And if they do, can you state here publicly so those that may come back and watch the video know where to purchase them and where I would know where to go?
Yeah, a lot of our vendors also sell at the farmers market and at local holiday and craft fairs. There's also some vendors who sell handmade lotions and things like that. And I think they're at Country Air. And so if you come in, it's not just sole it's at the Crafty Corner. It's not just those items that are sold there. So they are out in the community as well. We're just one spot that they like to sell.
Do they state that they're like crafted by local senior citizens, or that would identify it, or?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they would have like a little label or something on there, but yeah, there's hundreds of vendors that we've had throughout the year through there. So
It might be helpful for us locals as we're like identifying like a tag or, oh yeah, I know that's a senior citizen. Senior citizen to see. Now I would qualify. I have not signed up, so I'm sorry.
We gotta get you in. Yeah,
I know. I'm like no. The reality of I just But yeah,
that's a great idea.
I'm at the older end. I'm the oldest on council here so far, so I've become the elder with a teenage daughter.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you so much, Carmen. It was really interesting. Good to learn some things. I do qualify for an associate member, so I feel like I should jump on that before I'm a full member.
Yeah.
I ease myself into it, feel a little better.
Yeah, I'll get
So I'll have to stop by. And I'm going to suggest, though we're getting close to the end, I would like a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and finish up our agenda. Thank you.
No.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Okay. That works.
Okay. Now I can ask. We need to reconvene so that we can complete our work. So, sorry, Brian. We shouldn't be too much longer. So if people have questions, we can check in after. Okay. So we are on, oh yeah, sorry. We're waiting for, sorry, you guess you did have a couple more minutes. While Latricia is getting here, okay, I mean, while you're in the room so you can hear, we are at the council committee assignments, and we can go to Nathan really quickly, and then I can add something if he doesn't. So go ahead.
So Mayor and Council, as you all are aware, all of you provided input relative to council assignments. And as was mentioned earlier in this meeting, the mayor and deputy mayor both coordinated on assignments relative to the slate of city council assignments that we are hoping get adopted this evening so that we can continue to see members represent the city of Port Angeles on the various boards and bodies for which they represent the city. There are two slates that have been provided as part of your council packet this evening. One was if Mayor Dexter becomes mayor, and the other was if Deputy Mayor Carr became mayor. Both slates are identical with the exception of those rules change relative to who is mayor. And so based on the decision earlier, the recommendation would be we move forward with the Mayor Dexter slate as it has the mayor responsibilities in appropriate locations. I will note there's a number of additional issues we prompted council for, including community engagement. I think that's an issue we really want to make sure we pin down and have council on the same page. At this point in time, relative to community engagement, we did not have a majority expressing interest in any one of those particular issues. And so that might take a little bit of further discussion before we get there on designing a community engagement process that the full council is completely committed to. Additionally, staff did recommend that relative to the ARC committee, that's something that we suggested we move that forward to the whole council to ensure we have clear legislative direction and discussion on it, recognizing that committee discusses some significant policy issues relative to camping and encampments, and that's something we recommended postponing until we could have a larger council conversation. Additionally, council, we did have discussion of items for removal from assignments, and you'll see on the slate of assignments, removal of the ad hoc appointment committee is recommended simply to keep that separate, and we anticipate bringing that back to you at your February 3rd meeting, keeping the ad hoc committees entirely separate from this assignment list. Also removing the city wellness committee, as well as it was recommended that we remove the North Olympic Community Media assignment. So those are the three mentioned for removal. One council member did request 2 additions to assignments, but again, only one, and we would certainly need a majority before we add anything to the slate. So council, that is my staff report for this evening. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
I'm going to jump in really quickly and add that I think on the 3rd, we can also talk about the liaison position. That gives us a little more time we had talked about, and I think Nathan mentioned that it didn't make it in the, there was some conversation about it, and I don't remember exactly how it ended up in the ordinance. So it gives us time to consider that. And if there's direction on that, we can put it also at the February 3rd meeting to move forward on that. That was the council liaison. We had talked about having a council liaison position for each of our boards and commissions. So with that, I'm happy to open it up for discussion. We'll go to Navarra.
Yes. So I really appreciated the staff recommendation today, particularly around moving the aligned response and care team discussion until the next meeting. I am proposed as one of the representatives on that, but I think through this particular committee assignment process, it's become clear to me that I need more information about what we had directed that committee to do initially, and whether or not we want that committee to still be doing that same kind of work, or whether or not it would fall more appropriately somewhere else. I do not feel like I have enough information from staff, knowing that their recommendation was to table that item for discussion. And my request to council is that we have that discussion with a full staff report where we can actually have, I think, time and materials in advance to read about that. And make a more informed choice about the direction we want to go with that ad hoc committee appointment. That's also, I think, partially because we have had other ad hoc committees that I think have had more clear direction and that have had a pretty robust council process with them. I'm thinking particularly of the climate planning and mitigation subcommittee that Latricia and I were on for a little bit, and that it had a very substantial public process and process through this council as well, that I think was a little bit more clearly defined and understood. So with that, I am going to make a motion to move to adopt the Dexter City Council assignments list as proposed, removing the aligned response and care team for a discussion on February 3rd.
Second.
Thank you. That one I probably would have asked in a moment. It seems like a silly one to have die for lack of a second, unless nobody wants to go that direction. Okay, so you spoke to your motion, and other folks want to speak to the issues or the proposal. Amy, go ahead.
Thanks. As the council representative on the current team, I just sort of wanted to say that the reason I didn't want to just pass this along without any kind of discussion is because I think it feels like this conversation has sort of been kicked down the trail quite a bit. And so every opportunity I can, I want to make sure that I'm grabbing that opportunity. And so I seconded the motion. I'm happy to have the decision and further discussion at a later date. I'm happy to hear that date might be February 3rd and not the end of April. And I was just going to suggest, and I think Deputy Mayor Carr said it well, in that I really just wanted to let somebody have an opportunity to ask me questions about it, so that when you are thinking about whether we're going to dissolve this committee, you have some factual information and insight so that you can use to take, because so far only one other council member has taken me up on getting dirty. And so I want to make sure that that came out wrong. Going to see some of the work that we do, and in preparation for a conversation, which now sounds like maybe next council meeting, which is fine. I did prepare some of our wins and some things that we've been working on, and brought in our original manifesto, talking about our purpose and the membership and what our goals were. And so I'm happy to have the conversation later, but I would like to have the opportunity to share with everybody how we've went from where we started to where we are now. And our work has led us to a place where we have two very diverging paths, right? And so some of that is the work on the ground, and the other piece that came into play is that we came to a point where we can no longer have useful conversations without council direction. And so the ARC team also was hopeful to have this conversation, and I will support moving it on if I could, not if, but also can we get some confirmation that that would be February 3rd? Because I would like an opportunity for you guys to interact and ask questions, or the public to have an awareness that this conversation will be coming.
Point of information, that is, the date is in my motion, and I do, per Latricia's point earlier, want to remind folks that we don't want an OPMA violation by having too many of us go and tour sites.
Okay. Go ahead, Latricia.
Amy, Councilmember Amy, can you remind me who all is on this ARC team, as you're calling it? So it looks like on the proposal, Miller, you and Deputy Mayor Carr, but who else in the community? I guess I would like a little bit more, because I think I remember us talking about it, but I just haven't, I don't remember an update. I'm sorry.
I'm happy to. Do you want me?
I'm thinking that in the interest of time, since we have a motion to put it on the 3rd,
I would just like, real quick, who are the other team members?
Go ahead,
That's all. I don't want to end up. Just
so currently it is Director Scott Curtin, Chief of Police or his representative, Daryl Sharp from the fire department is there. Parks representative is there. Man, I thought I had it all in there. Every now and then we have a legal representative. Joe Descala from 4PA is there, and we've talked about inviting in representatives of like the business group and other like neighborhood, not neighborhood watches, but we've talked about adding in different members, and again, didn't want to grow a thing if we weren't going to do a thing.
All right, that's helpful. Thank you.
All right, so I will probably botch. Oh, are there any other comments or questions? Also about Nathan? Yes, go ahead.
Mayor, just want to make clear, no opposition to the motion. I just want to make clear that for the February 3rd meeting, there wouldn't be an opportunity likely to work session it, as we have something else scheduled during the 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. time slot. So that would be part of your regular meeting. If we scheduled it further out, there would be an opportunity to work session it.
Let's start with the 3rd, and then if we feel like we need a work session, we can plan a work session. Does that sound reasonable to folks? Okay. All right. So any other comments or questions? This isn't just about ARC, so I'm assuming you can do and are okay with your council assignments, your committee assignments, because that's what we're about to adopt. Okay. All right. So we have a motion to approve the Dexter draft slate, removing the aligned response and care team, and move that to February 3rd. Anyone opposed to the motion, please state your opposition. All right, hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. And before we move on really quickly, Amy, are you available? I know we haven't, I need to ask a quick question. We haven't officially notified everyone, but there is a Clallam Transit meeting tomorrow, and Navarra and I are the current alternates in the absence of appointments, and neither of us will be here. And I don't know, Amy, if you're available tomorrow, but you would be a rep if this passed. It did pass. Yes. Thank you. Because this passed. So I just want to make sure we have representation there. Go ahead.
Also, Amy, just so you know, it doesn't actually meet at 10 anymore. It meets at noon. At noon.
So last time I was an alternate for this board, they required some training before I attended. Okay. So I don't know how they might feel about it, but I have done the training. And also, I'm not sure if I'm available tomorrow.
Okay. We can make it work between the three of us. We can figure it out after the meeting. I just wanted to mention that. Go ahead, Nathan.
Mayor, I think there's a number of engagements this week for a large number of these assignments. And while the city clerk will be getting out communication to each of those bodies to inform who the assigned council member is, it likely will not necessarily take place before the end of this week. So if you see something that is occurring this week, you may need to go ahead and attend, or at least inform Bree, and she can make any notification that's feasible within the time frame.
Okay, I do think that generally speaking, we serve through January and then it changes in February. I was only asking because we got an email today asking about it that I noticed at the last minute. So, okay, we'll figure that out. And Drew, you had a question.
Only because that's literally what we're talking about is logistics. Chamber meets this Thursday. Mark, am I showing up to Chamber? I can. We can both show up.
I think because we haven't notified the boards.
Okay, so the plan is whatever you have
you do through
at the start of January, do through January.
And then we'll send the letters out and everything will switch over in February.
Okay, I will plan accordingly.
Yeah, okay. Very good. Glad we had that conversation. I did not mean to confuse things, but I just was trying to figure out Clallam Transit. So one of us could join via Zoom as well. Okay. We had J1 on consent. How would people feel about not doing council reports tonight so that we can get on our way? So we still have a 2.5-hour drive.
So I can go really fast, but ironically, my statement about council reports is how we don't put enough emphasis on council reports.
Okay. Well, we'll just be efficient. All right, John, go ahead.
Okay, efficiency. I am going down to Olympia tonight to talk with lawmakers about our legislative priorities and other things. I'm looking forward to that opportunity as I have talked with Steve Theringer, Adam Birnbaum, and Mike Chapman in my other roles in the school district. So I look forward to conversing with them and making sure our point of view here in Port Angeles for what we need and how they can help us achieve those economic, environmental, sustainability, housing needs can grow. So that's my efficient report.
Thank you, John. Amy.
Okay. I prepared some things to share with everybody. So the 2026 point in time count is happening on the 29th, which again, for the community, that is a census of individuals who are living in our county without shelter, without homes. They actually are divided between sheltered and unsheltered. And last year, this count was done in Clallam County. We had identified, and again, the numbers are skewed, but we identified 331 individuals who meet the criteria for homelessness in our county. About 208 of those individuals meet the criteria for chronic homelessness, which means they've been homeless for a year or more. And about 82% of those individuals are living outdoors. We have a shelter in the city. It has 152 beds, and the average stay in an emergency they can hold 170. Average stay in the winter is about 128 individuals. I had more, but I'll leave it at that for now. So that's happening the 29th. The public is invited and welcome to join in the count. You can get more information on Serenity House of Clallam County website. You can message me or email me. I will be doing a cocoa wagon and the pit count. Also wanted to just highlight that there will be an event. It's February 19th, the Welcome Back Coho event, which is going to be at 11:30. And then Serenity House also is having an open house February 11th from 2 to 5. And again, I recommend putting yourself in the room and asking the questions. Thanks.
Can you repeat that date really quickly? Sorry. Serenity House?
Yes, it's the open house February 11th from 2 to 5.
Thank you. Navarra.
I'll just say that I am rotating off every board I had served on, and had served on, LTAC for a number of years, and I've been on the NODC rep for 6. I personally think that we should consider as a council having more changeover. I have really, truly loved being on NODC. It's been really just a pleasure to learn from so many smart people who are so kind and compassionate and really working on a regional scale that you don't usually see in local government. So I'm very sad to be leaving that board. Drew, I hope you have great fun with it. And also, I think it's something for us to consider that the boards that we serve on, we come to know and love. But I think it's also valuable to try new things and give other, council members an opportunity to lead in those spaces as well. And so I just wanted to say that for all of the boards that I've been serving on, it's been a real pleasure. And I am also deeply looking forward to learning about my new boards and committee assignments and getting to know and love them in the same way.
Thank you, Navarra. Mark.
Okay, I'll just go quickly though. The speed with which I'm doing this is not reflective of the importance. I just want to point out for holidays, our first responders on Christmas PAPD had 19 calls for service on Christmas and PA Fire had 16. PENCOM had a total number of calls of 17 for 17 user agencies on the 25th. That was 175. Some of the calls included a weapons discharge, 3 disturbance calls, 2 suicide attempts, suspicious activities, a couple ITAs, involuntary treatments, vehicle prowls. And I just want to say thank you to our first responders that, they answer the call no matter when and what day. So thank you very much for working through the holidays.
Thank you, Mark. Drew.
Yeah, so over the last few weeks, I've managed to meet with a constituent. I went to the Olympic National Park public listening session, as I think several of us here did, and I do know I saw several county, or at least one county commissioner as well. And then I also went to the Olympic Peninsula Tourism Commission partner work session in Sequim, along with one of our planning department staff members. In a personal capacity as a business owner, I've also managed to go to this month's Chamber of Commerce luncheon, as well as the Elevate PA Waterfront District meeting. Not at this time, because I realize that we're making short comments, but I actually would like to have a discussion and encourage us to kind of change our approach to council reports. In the past, at least since I've been serving, they turn into basically, here's the list of things I went to, and here's my statement on current events. Which is fine. I'm not saying we don't do that. This is literally the only opportunity in the meeting that we have to do that in a public setting. But what we seem to lack is an ability for other council members to get information regarding the things that we don't serve on. And so being able to actually, like, I have questions for Clallam Transit as an example. So some sort of mechanism in place for council to be able to be like, hey, Drew, I have questions about NODC. Will you find out for the next meeting? And then me being able to actually bring that as a report back. So that is hence the not de-emphasizing council reports. So because we're rolling lots of things in February, I would like to see that as part of our conversation with how are we doing more engagement with the public. That's all I have.
Excellent. Thank you, Drew. Latricia.
Most of my meetings are at the end of the month, but I did participate in the listening session that the Park Service did. I was kind of really hoping more for like a conceptual design to see what their ideas were, and I didn't see any of that. But it was good reminiscing. It seems like the fireplace was a big like, what do you remember most about the lodge? Fireplace was one. What would you like to see change the most? I think the stairs were one. Stairs were not fun in the wintertime. But I do have, if anybody is around up at the college at the Studium General on Thursday, 12 to 1:30, Collin County Marine Resources Committee is doing a presentation on, what we do and kind of a big overbroad picture to kind of get the word out, what we're doing and why we exist to the community. So that is on the 22nd. I've been doing other things, but they're in personal capacity, not representing the city. So thank you. And good luck at AWC. I'm really excited and push those legislative priorities and squeeze as much as you can out of them.
See what we can do. Thank you. When Navarro was talking, I was thinking about the fact that I have been on utility advisory committee since I started on council, and I will no longer be on the utility advisory committee. So it's going to be weird to try something new. But I am going to try my hand at LTAC. So I thought that sounded interesting, and hopefully I didn't sign up for more work than I think. Probably did, but I'm excited about it. I think it'll be an interesting and fun change of pace. So one thing that we did get feedback about that I read in council feedback was some committees that don't get spoken to. And so maybe a little bit to Drew's point, I serve on a couple of nonprofit committees, and some of what we're doing isn't necessarily public. And so, I'm on the board as a Lauritsen Trust. The trust requires that the mayor is on the board, and we have not explored changing that in any way. We give money to widows in need and support OPCC, and then also own the Lauritsen building. And so one thing I can share is if you haven't checked it out yet, I will admit that I have not, but you may have noticed that there is life again in the space that was some variation of moon for a very long time, and it is now the howling moon. And so it's exciting to see that space open again, and hopefully people will go back. And I will just stop there and turn it over to Nathan. That was way longer than I intended. Sorry. Thank you, Nathan.
Mayor and council, I have one quick thing. Although you have a great deal of information in your council packet, lots of good reports. Hopefully you've all enjoyed reading those. The thing I would like to share is make sure council has their calendars reserved for next Tuesday night on January 27th. We do anticipate needing a special meeting from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all for being patient. And it's time now for second public comment period. We'll start in council chambers. If you are joining us virtually and wish to make a public comment, this is the open public comment period. Doesn't have to be on the agenda. Please raise your virtual hand, and we'll start in council chambers. Oh, yes. And sorry. Yes, please. Thank you, Kelly. Bradley Calloway. And we'll start with you because you were on the sign up list. And I asked you to wait. So just your name and whether or not you're a resident, and you'll have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Bradley Calloway, they, them. I live here in Port Angeles. It's come to my attention that we have 2 flock cameras here at the 101 split. My concern about these cameras is that they have a lot of safety and security issues in addition to the efficacy and ethical concerns about especially the flock hardware and software, and that the mass surveillance and the breach of personal privacy that these cameras represent to our community. A security specialist, John Gaines, published a white paper on November 11th, 2025, that indicates that these cameras are running on outdated and unsupported operating system, Android 8.1, which has over 900 known security issues. Also, the Flock-specific applications and programs, these are the custom Flock stuff, itself has 50 more known critical security issues. And Flock has taken no actions to resolve these issues, and that since a lot of these issues are with the hardware and not with the software, they can't even be resolved unless you pull out and replace these cameras. Due to the lack of honest and accountable security practices that these cameras, due to the lack of honest and accountable security practices for these cameras, almost all of these cameras, all the data on them is unencrypted and unsecured, and unskilled actors can walk up to a camera and get root access. And with root access to these cameras, you can add, copy, edit, remove, and even edit the memory of these cameras to make these modifications untraceable. So this is like severe, high-risk, critical security issues to something that is monitoring the public. These systems also allow permissions escalations. This allows malicious actors with access to the data to permissions escalate so they can access things like local 911 dispatching systems, and they can view like GPS trackers of our local police cars. They can look at the expected patrol routes, names, addresses, phone numbers of our police officers. These cameras are billed as simple license plate readers. They also will store videos and pictures of anything that passes by the camera. So that includes pedestrians, bicyclists, and especially and notably children that the camera sees. The camera will store these in a different file, and anyone with access to the camera, which as I've already covered, is basically anyone who feels like it, can grab this data off of the camera and do whatever they want with it, which is another clear security risk for our community. So this data far exceeds the scope of what these are billed as a license plate reader. And so I'm urging the city to join all of the other cities and counties around our state and our nation in removing the Flock cameras from the city and in passing an ordinance to not allow the Flock cameras to remain in the city and nothing owned, operated by Flock or their other corporate affiliates to be run in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we do have two hands online, but we'll stay in council chambers for the moment.
Okay. Kelly Johnson, city resident. I'll continue where I kind of left off last time. So I just wanted to make you aware that the Cliff House condo owners were the condo above Country Air, and we have continuously have to deal with illegal and dangerous structures on the city-owned slope in front of us, to the north of us, which is, a critical area, slide area. These issues, create theft, on our property. I've had 3 different people since I've lived there try to break in when I've been home. One of my elderly neighbors just found a needle on our property. We have people trespassing through, being caught on our cameras. It's just ongoing safety risks for us. In addition to the critical slide area, which is pretty scary for us. I did receive an update today from 4PA. Thank you very much. There was a 2-story structure there that is just an engineering feat. I hope you get onto their website. I'm sure hopefully they'll post some pictures. And then this second structure, there was people there again today, so they formally trespassed them, so they'll hopefully be able to go back and take care of that. But it's not just our concern, it's become the #1 topic across social media, Substacks, podcasts, community pages. I hope you guys are all looking at them and reading them. Councilmember Drew's recent Facebook post drew an overwhelming response, specifically about drug use and illegal camping, and people genuinely appreciated his outreach. It was actually really refreshing to see that level of engagement. And then yesterday at my work, They had to call the police again, and they came and trespassed somebody that had been camping. I was the only one there, and he was a high-risk sex offender, history of theft and assault, and the responding officer said, just keep calling everything in. But these aren't isolated incidents. They reflect a pattern that has gone on far too long. People are frustrated. They're tired of this, and they want real change and not just promises. So I hope that you take this seriously. And I don't exactly know what this art committee, I saw something about camping. So I would love to be on that committee. If as a business, person, I'm part of the PABA, so I would love to be on that. And look forward to hopefully you guys addressing that very soon. Thanks.
Thank you, Kelly.
Great, Steve Polero again. Yeah, thank you to Drew for engaging the community. I did see you at the Elevate PA meeting as well as the Chamber of Commerce luncheon and engaging us on social media. I would encourage you guys to follow his lead. Come on out there and engage the public as well. Along this theme of social media, one of my posts this week, I don't know, went a little viral for me, had a big, strong community reaction. This post recognized a local hero who defended a calm transit driver. And it received more than 500 comments and reactions. And community members led by Kelly over there and supported by Sound Bikes came together to buy this individual a new e-bike. The whole reason why he was riding the bus was because his e-bike was stolen. So I guess the story is that, the generosity part reflects, the very best of Port Angeles, but the incident, itself highlights really the harder truths here. To echo what Kelly's saying here, assaults, thefts, and other crime are happening on our streets, and it's becoming more common. Lawlessness is just, not in the abstract. Just even recently, the downtown breezeway, it seems like I'm getting reports every week, fecal matter, urine, burn marks from fires in there. In fact, one of the business owners said twice she's had to help a customer who didn't feel safe to walk through the breezeway back to their car. And just to echo what Kelly was talking about today, the removal of that structure on the hillside, it's shocking to me that I guess there were 6 volunteers that worked for 3 hours today, and they worked earlier before, I guess 4,000 pounds. That was all done outside of City of Port Angeles. What would the cost have been if City of Port Angeles brought to bear resources to do that? We have a lot to be thankful for, right? Thank you, Joe. I don't know if you get enough recognition here. But crime, drug use, illegal camping have really become, these burdens that law-abiding citizens and businesses are, we're increasingly being expected to accept as just normal. I think what this community needs really is some leadership that's going to prioritize outcomes, that's going to confront these difficult realities, and people that are willing to spend their political capital to make progress. Doing the same thing year after year is a decision. This is a decision that Port Angeles can't continue to make. We must do something different. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. And just a reminder, social media stuff needs to be captured on, yep, very good, thank you. I didn't think I needed to say it, but figure it's worth just in case.
I have a post specifically about that on my website.
Excellent, excellent, very good. All right, Mr. Barbieri, go ahead when you're ready.
Okay. My name is Glenn Barbieri. I live in Port Angeles. Yeah. As you all know, I'm been going through some tough things, and I've been doing probably way too much thinking about what I wanted to say tonight. I mean, like, way too much. So obviously it's changed a lot. And, I've talked to Latricia, and I'd like to talk to Kate maybe sometime, and Drew, I'll probably maybe see you tomorrow or sometime this week. So just to give you a heads up, this is outside City Council, and those are things that are going on. And today, however, I decided kind of what's going on with me. The only reason I'm bringing this up because in years past, I would have ended up, with picked up by the police or going to Second Street House or even to a psychiatric hospital. But I don't want to do that this time. Western State Hospital, that once or twice was enough. So I don't remember if it's once or twice, but that's about that was there. So I don't want to do that again. But I realized today I'm dealing with two things. Unresolved grief, a lot of unresolved grief, and several sources of unresolved post-traumatic stress. So I've decided I've got to do something different. There's some things I need to back away from for a number of reasons. So that's kind of what I'm going forward. And a lot is down to something a bit serious. I went to DSHS and the Social Security office today because I'm getting the things taken care of. And one person out of the conversation, I don't remember all the details, I literally don't know the person's name, but it underscores in a very different way a problem we've had for a very long time. We had a lot of comments here about the crime and such there with homeless and such. That's not our own crime. That's not our only crime problem. We have some problems in the system, in various systems and organizations in the city itself. I can't say much because hearsay is not admissible. Okay, that's the problem. Until we start listening to people over the decades or years, some of the problems they have, it's kind of scary. So we all were focusing on things that are obvious. There are things that are generally hidden. They're even scarier. So just give you guys a heads up on that. We've got some problems we've had for a very long time. And if it comes to my attention, well then, okay? So take care. God bless you, and thank you all for your help and support.
Thank you. All right, we'll go online. Let me get my timer ready. When you're unmuted, we'll make sure we can hear you first, and we'll start with John Worthington.
John Worthington, Squim, thank you for having me.
Yes, I started your timer.
Today at the legislature on the 6PPQD hearing, the legislature was told that there's no magic bullet for the salmon expenditures. So what they were called on is, okay, now there's this tire business. What about the riparian? What about the dam removal? What about the culvert projects? What about the riparian projects? How come those aren't working, and why are we switching? Well, today I found out that there's no magic bullet. So we're tens of billions of dollars into a salmon recovery process, and I'm being told that there's no magic bullet. So that there hasn't been a better time for the Jimmy Come Lately science to be run up the flagpole. Over at the NODC, we have had a problem in how we've approached our problem solving, and I think there needs to be more of a switch to bringing them into your chambers and letting them talk to the public and not being afraid of that open dialogue. Because right now, I don't think that the public has a lot of confidence in salmon restoration right now. At least I don't. I don't think that you can continue to move the goalposts, and I don't think you can continue to hold cities hostage and counties, hold them hostage with salmon recovery goals that they're telling me now aren't a magic bullet. And I really do think we need to review the Jimmy Come Lately science with an eye towards giving it a decent run up the flagpole. I know you've heard me say it over and over again, but after today and hearing them say that we're tens of billions of dollars in salmon restoration and there's been no magic bullet ever, well then why are we spending tens of billions of dollars on salmon recovery? Perhaps John at the legislature tomorrow can find some of that out. But I appreciate you hearing me out. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. And Susie Blake.
Hello.
Hey, we can hear you. So go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Susie Blake, Port Angeles resident and homeowner. I own a mortgage for a home, which I purchased in good faith, following the laws of the state of Washington and the United States of America. So I don't consider myself a guest. I consider myself the host of my home. My husband really wants me to come eat my dinner, but first I want to say thank you to those of you on council who still exhibit awareness that the primary purpose of your role on council is to serve all the members of the community and not to build your political career. So thank you. I see you. I had a lot of things I want to talk about, but I was listening to you guys talk about the issues being discussed on Facebook, and I wanted to say I had to delete my Facebook account last year because I was being cyber stalked by someone, and the reason they were harassing me is because I offered to help a mother from out of town who was looking for her drug-addicted adult child on the streets. And it was a very bizarre, scary experience. So I completely deleted my Facebook account. And I have been that child whose parent was looking for them, not on the streets, but homeless. But as I've realized, the more I hear people talk about homelessness now, that I was homeless more than I thought I was in retrospect. And I've also been that mother. And so just by offering to help someone who was trying to fight the system that was keeping their child on the streets, I got harassed. And that's how enmeshed the system is here. And I think we need some change. And I have this book I'm going to drop off for you. But I also want to encourage you to really look for more voices, to come speak to issues, to serve on committees when you're interacting more with the community, like some of you were talking about wanting to do. The people with lived experience who have overcome. There's too many people running things who have never really lived what they're talking about. And I'm going to read a little bit from this book until my time cuts off. I believe we all want strong communities and thriving citizens. It is possible to turn our cities around so people on the bottom develop skills to rise to the top. The current route is destroying our country. Things are not hopeless. We need to start before it is too late. There is no way, no amount of sweeping people behind closed doors will change anything. As the mess grows, so does the cost. The more we place decisions in the hand of people who sound like they know what they're doing, the worse it gets. Have we decided that people deteriorating in front of our eyes are easier to manage, or have we stopped asking hard questions? If your child was living on the streets, addicted, caught in cycles of crime, would you enable them or intervene? I expect you would intervene. I expect you would intervene. This is my part I'm adding, as my family did for me and as I did for my family members. Set boundaries, require accountability, demand a change. You would do this because you love them and you know they are capable of more. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. I don't have any other hands online. Anyone else in council chambers? All right. Well, thank you all for coming this evening, and we will see you on the 3rd. We will be here for a work session next Tuesday. Just a reminder, there's no public comment, but you're always welcome to join us. So we may see some of you then. Thanks so much.